One thing we should consider if we've got certain layers that we use over and over again. For example, let's say that when I go to mark up a drawing, I like to have a set of layers that aren't really part of the normal standard. So when I start a new drawing, they're not there. But I'd like to introduce them so that I can mark up my drawing, they're on a separate layer, and then we can remove them when the drawing has been updated and the revisions have been done. One way to do this is we can actually do it through a button. So we can actually create a button, whether you add it to a ribbon or to a toolbar, and this button can actually create layers. Now, the one thing that we have to take note of is that there's actually a layer command that we can access through the command line. So by putting a dash in front of it, what it does is actually starts layer options that I can do from the command line. So you notice I can make new, I can set, I can make, I can turn on off, I can adjust the color. Now the feature I'm going to use is actually the make layer as opposed to the new, because if I go in there and try to create something new that exists, then I might get into some issues there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the make option instead, and I'm going to use the color option to be able to set the color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the CUI environment, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new command. So down here at the bottom here, I'm going to click new, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this, let's say, rev layer. And I'm going to go into the macro option here, and let's just expand this to make it a little bit easier to see. So cancel. So that's what the caret C is cancel. So if I'm in a command, I click this button, it's going to cancel that command. I'm going to put an underscore just because spaces are recognized as enters. So what I do is I just put an underscore there just to give me a little separation between the cancels and what I'm going to do next. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a dash layer. And I'm going to put a semicolon, because what I want is I want the layer command to function. So I'm going to type layer, and then the semicolon represents an enter. So I've done that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do make, so M for make, and the new layer is going to be, let's call it markup. And I'm going to put an enter here. And one thing that's kind of unique about this is you can actually create multiple layers. So I could actually go markup, comma, revision, comma, new layer, comma, and just keep going. But in this case, I only want one. So layers, make, markup. Next would be color. So C for color. I'm going to do this as a red. Now I know that when I go through here and I just put red, it's actually going to be a secondary prompt that's going to say which red is in color 1. So I know I need to go enter, right, to accept the color. And then I'm going to do an enter to finish the command. So basically 3 enters in a row. So one enter to basically say red, another enter to accept color 1. I think it's color 1, and then another enter to basically exit the command. So I'm going to start the layer command, I'm going to make a layer called markup, and I'm going to set its color to red. So we'll click OK. There's my new command there. And I've already got a toolbar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to my mic toolbar. So I'm going to drag and drop, add that to my mic toolbar. So we'll click OK, and hopefully that toolbar shows up. If not, then we'll just turn it on. I don't see it, so let's nope. What's the shortcut here? It's let's go to manage, view. How come I can't remember where to get my toolbars from? Manage, well, let's do it this way. Toolbar, and we want mic, and we want to show that. Now where is it? Oh, it's floating here off the screen. Okay, so we can see here that there's no layer called markup. I'm going to click the button. It actually goes through a series of commands, as you can see there. And now what I can see is that the markup layer has been added. So you can do that to basically introduce layers into your drawing. So we could actually do a collection of those if you wanted to create a button just to go through and introduce those layers. So now I got a button, any drawing I'm in, I click it, it goes through and introduces the layer. Okay, so moving over to scripts, you kind of accomplish the same things, but you can actually do more with scripts. You can actually, run more things. You can batch process scripts across multiple drawings, and it might be a little bit easier just to lay it out instead of having this one long macro string on a toolbar. And also, scripts are easier to share with other people than toolbars. So I've created a text file with Notepad, and I've saved it as revlayers .scr, so scr for scripts. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create, I'm going to start the layer command, so dash layer. I'm going to hit an enter to actually represent a new layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it markup, hit enter, and we're going to do color, and it's going to be red, right? So I'm going to do enter, enter, and then we're going to make one called revisions, enter, color, it's going to be green, right? We'll make one more, we'll call it notes, we'll make it color cyan, enter, enter, enter. Is that enough? Well, we'll find out. So layer make called markup, color is going to be red. I'm going to make called revisions, color is going to be green. Then I'm going to make one called notes, and the color is going to be cyan. And that should exit the command. So I've now saved that. And back in AutoCAD here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Manage tab. I'm going to click Run Script, and let's select that script and see what happens. So I'll click Open, and we can see the sequence of commands it's gone through. And what I can see is that it actually created a new layer called Notes. And it set it active because that was the last one I created. I can see that revisions has been added, and since I'm using the make function, it didn't error when it went to create markup. So the script file can actually be used to quickly introduce a collection of layers with the correct properties into your drawing. And like I said, they can be expanded on to do more things. Now what's great about scripts is you don't really need to know that much about programming really at all. You could just go down there, just kind of follow the steps, kind of step it through. This is what I want to do, and basically translate it into the text file. So there you have it. I mean, you can use your toolbars, you can add a button, you can use scripts, but there's a couple different ways there to basically introduce, standard layers or frequently used layers into your drawings.